Alright guys, welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you guys the best purchase I've ever made. Now without further ado, let's just get right into this. Let me go ahead and open this up and show you guys what it is. It is the DJI Mavic Mini drone. Now the reason for this is because I'm generally a pretty creative person, and if you are too, it's 100% going to be one of the coolest things you could ever buy, even if you're not creative. There is so much you can do with this thing that it doesn't have to go in any work or any sort of social media side of things. It's just fun for yourself. But if we're going to be talking about the social media side of things, you guys will not want to miss some of the things that I've done with this. I'm kind of keeping it under wraps. I've been working on something for a little bit. It's going to be next week's video. You're not going to want to miss it, to show you guys some of the stuff that I've achieved with this online, creating content and showing it to other people. But with that being said, this thing costs generally, I think, $400. Right now, I think I noticed it's on sale for about $360, which is incredibly cheap for the amount of quality this thing offers. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description down below to Amazon if you do want to check it out. But the fact that you can get a drone of this quality for $400, again, less than $400, is unbelievable. And the reason for that is with this thing, you can just change the way you tell stories, whether that's something for your Instagram. You're not a huge creator on the side of YouTube or videos like that. Just the way you take pictures, the way you take little clips for your Instagram, or if you're a creator on YouTube, you're trying to get started even. You don't have to be a YouTuber to want to get something like this or to even use something like this for YouTube videos. But it's a great way to step up the quality of your videos. Whatever you're producing, you can just get these shots that you never would have dreamed of. In fact, that actual film producers, especially small film producers, would have never dreamed of, because that's out of the budget, you know? These types of shots in the past, before drones were a thing, you're going to need like a helicopter, quite literally, to get some of these shots. And now you have a few inches by few inches large drone, $400, less than $400, and you can get these shots. Like, it changes everything in the way that creative people work, or people that just want to have fun and experience the world in a different way. You get to literally be a bird. You get a bird's eye view, and it comes straight to your phone when you're flying it. Like, that is a life-changing experience, to be able to see anything you want from away that wouldn't really be physically possible usually. This thing has a range of, I think, up to 2 miles. Me personally, I don't really take it past half a mile, because there's not really a reason to go much farther than that. If you're going like 2 miles out, I don't really know what you're going to be filming. Some really crazy long shots for sure, but you don't really need to go much farther than that. I've flown at half a mile, no issues at all. Of course, if you have a bunch of skyscrapers in the way, haven't really tried that, probably won't be the best, but this thing has some incredible range. It can fly anywhere, and you can get shots that you would never dream of getting. Now, to a creative person, that's of course a very exciting thing, because that allows you to get new shots for whatever photography you might like to do, whatever movies you might be trying to film, whether that's a short film or just a YouTube video. You can add so many different elements to your videos, break up some of those other segments to introduce something new, and really get some emotional cinematic shots in those stories. Now, as I go along in this video, I'm probably going to be popping up some of the footage on the screen, some of the amazing shots that I've gotten with it, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Like, filming from the ground is one thing, and getting those beautiful shots, especially like if you're at the beach, but then to have this added element of being able to go from the view that you might be having on the beach, where you're standing there looking at the sunset or whatever, to actually being able to fly into the sunset. Like, at one point, I'm literally flying along with a bird in this bird's eye view, like we're flying together, and I capture that all on video. And this thing can record 1080p, it can record 2.7K. It doesn't do 4K, but at 2.7K, you're not going to know the difference. Plus, you could just upscale it to 4K. But I record it in 1080p because the quality is so good anyways. And the way this thing shoots, it actually shoots like better quality than my iPhone at 1080p, even though it is still 1080p, just because of the way it portrays colors and details like that. So you don't really need any sort of special hardware, because the 1080p is going to be low enough for most computers to be able to work on that footage. If you do want the higher footage, the higher quality footage, you can zoom in and see all kinds of details. 2.7K, of course, is going to be a little bit better than that for you. But then from the side of, if you're not necessarily a creative person, or maybe you are a creative person, but you're not sort of a tech type of person, this thing is the perfect middle ground for anybody, especially if you're trying to get into something new like drone videography or photography, because one, it's cheap. if you crash it, you're not crashing a multi-thousand-dollar drone. Of course, you don't want to lose on it $400 either, but it's also very easy to fly. Like this thing, it'll hover in any environment regardless of a little bit of wind. Of course, if you have super high wind, it's not going to hover perfectly still, but you're not just going to crash it immediately. It still will be able to fly in most wind conditions as well. It'll just be wobbly or whatever, and you'll sort that out yourself, but you're not going to crash it just because of a little bit of higher wind. But I've flown it in 5, 6, 7, 8 mile per hour wind, and it does perfectly fine. And if there's no wind at all, even with a little wind, it'll still hover perfectly still, which means you can get all sorts of incredible shots without having to worry about the stress of it moving around. Like back in the day, I used to fly helicopters, and I actually attached a GoPro to the bottom of my helicopter. One, that thing was just impossible to fly in the first place. Like, to keep that thing steady, you had to be a master pilot. Like, I spent a decent amount of time with it and can never fly it perfectly steady. Then, to add on the camera of the GoPro, that completely messes up the weight of the helicopter itself. It just became a whole mess. This thing, it has the gimbal on it as well, so you don't even have to worry about the footage being stable the way you're flying, because the gimbal will handle that side of the aspect for you. That's just the nature of a gimbal. What it does, it'll keep everything balanced and smooth. So, like I said, I will be releasing a new video next week highlighting exactly what I've done with this footage. Obviously, I've recorded plenty of it for my YouTube channel. I've added that into my videos as well, which has really enhanced the videos in my opinion. But I've done something very special, a little experiment, if you will, and it's gone very well. And I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that in the next video, but you won't want to miss that. It's been amazing to see the different reactions I can get from creating some of this content. And not to mention, I mean, it's a little bit probably too close to Christmas, but it would be the most perfect Christmas gift as well, just for anybody that wants something fun or different. Anybody could pick it up. Maybe if you're like 8 years old, you might not want to use it so much because it might be a little tricky to get your hands on, but anybody can function this thing. They've made it for the average person or someone that does a little bit more than that, but still doesn't want to spend so much money on incredible equipment that just costs thousands of dollars or near the $1,000 mark anyways. I'm going to open it up here. It's going to be a little awkward position to open it because my camera is quite high up. But as you guys can see, the size of this thing, even when you open it all the way, is just remarkably small. Like, it's like the size of my head pretty much, you know? And when it's folded up, you could put it in your pocket. In fact, I have done, because when I'm hiking, sometimes you don't want to get it in and out of whatever bag you're holding. I just put it in my pocket. And the controller, you can have it with your phone. Either hold on to that, or I can show you guys right here. It's like the same size as the drone itself. So you have this in one pocket, this in the other pocket, and you can literally walk around, go on a hike or whatever with this thing. And the battery time on the drone itself is like 30 minutes, 25 minutes. You have plenty of time to fly it around and get cool shots and everything like that. And honestly, sometimes just breathtaking experience to be able to pop this thing up in the air and fly it anywhere I want and see what it is I'm looking at in such a different way, and be able to capture those emotions in a different way, or cinematic footage for videos that I'm making in a different way. Genuinely can't think of anything better. It's been so fun to experiment with it, try new things, and try out the different features it has. All in all, it's the most amazing thing that I've ever purchased, especially as someone who likes to be creative, and like I said, to boost that level of content for the other little experiment I have going. I wouldn't have been able to get the whole setup as I do now, and you guys won't want to miss that video. I will post it next week, I do promise on that. It's going to be a very interesting one to say the least, but that is going to be it for this video. I will link it down below in the description if you want to check it out on Amazon and see for yourself some of the extra features that I didn't talk about and all that, and the price and whatnot. You guys can do that there, but without further ado, please do follow me on social media. There might be a new one popping on the screen soon. Just saying, you might want to check back later for what I mean by that. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. You won't want to miss that video and the future ones. And drop a like on this video. I would very much appreciate that. But with that being said, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Peace.